Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. The Supreme Court of India in the last 5 years during the tenure of the last 4 Chief Justices of India has seen an unprecedented fall from being an independent custodian of justice to becoming an instrumentality of the government. After the tenure of former CJI Rajan Gogoi, who oversaw the Ayodhya and Rafale verdicts before retiring to join the Rajya Sabha, we thought the worst was behind us. We hoped that his successor CJI SA Bobde would lift the court out of this abyss and at least restore its independence from the executive. But the nearly 18 months of his tenure has exposed a deep malaise in every aspect of dispensation of justice, from the administration of the court in the allocation of cases and benches to presiding over matters related to the protection of civil liberties, securing the rights and the livelihood of the poor and marginalized, or in ensuring that the unconstitutional actions and policies of the executive are kept in check. His tenure began in November 2019 with many important cases before him. There were over 100 petitions challenging the dilution of Article 370 and the reorganization of the state of Jammu and Kashmir into union territories. Soon after he assumed office, the Citizenship Amendment Act was passed, which led to another spate of petitions challenging its constitutionality. The CAA sparked widespread protests. We witnessed police confrontation at the Jamia University campus and the entry of gangs into Jawaharlal Nehru University, who beat up students and teachers under the full gaze of the police. Thereafter, the city of Delhi witnessed engineered riots and the subsequent hounding of young students and other activists in the guise of an investigation by the Delhi police. There were also other important cases pending before the Supreme Court, including the validity of electoral bonds and the protection of Rohingya refugees. Then, early in 2020, COVID 19 overtook the country, and with it began the lockdown of the Supreme Court and thereafter other courts, and then the entire country, which led to the largest exodus of migrant labor from the large cities in India. A powerful constitutional court like the Supreme Court of India must rise to these challenges, and it is in such challenging times that its mettle and independence is tested. It is here that the role of the Chief Justice of India, he is the master of the roster, deciding the priority accorded to the hearing of cases, their allocation to benches, and setting the tone for the court by his leadership becomes critical. The cases challenging the cataclysmic changes to the status of Jammu and Kashmir remained unheard during his entire tenure, as did the cases challenging the CAA. The main challenge to the electoral bonds and other changes to electoral funding, which have a fundamental bearing on our democracy remained unheard. Applications for the stay of bonds being issued before every election were never listed for hearing and were eventually dismissed on the ground that the bonds has been around for several years. Therefore, there was no need to stay them. Similarly, the main petition regarding the status of the Rohingya refugees and the protection to be accorded to them remained unheard. An application to prevent their detention and deportation was disposed of by Chief Justice Bobde in complete disregard of constitutional and international law norms on the basis that their fleeing genocide in Myanmar did not concern the court. The Supreme Court, under his stewardship, remained shut for physical training much of the time, resulting in fewer than 25% cases being heard in a court already reeling under a backlog and pendency of cases. Many habeas corpus petitions of people in detention were not heard for months and therefore summarily disposed of without deciding the main issue by relegating the petitioners to the high courts. During the nationwide lockdown last year, the country witnessed unprecedented suffering by migrant labor. There was a mass exodus of them from the big cities, and they suffered a huge loss of livelihood and income. Without any public transport, they were forced to walk hundreds of miles to reach their villages. Their cases for relief in terms of food, wages, and transport was initially heard by the CJI's bench. Unfortunately, the pleas on behalf of the migrant workers did not result in any relief to them, with the court saying it could not supplant the government's wisdom on providing relief to the lakhs of migrant laborers across the country. The CJI remarked infamously during one of the hearings, if they are being provided meals, then why do they need money? It would be no exaggeration to say that the court's inhumanity and apathy towards the distress of the poor and marginalized reaches its nadir during this time. Far from being a custodian of citizens' rights, CJI Bobde, while hearing the Kerala journalist Siddiq Kapan's habeas corpus petition, arrested while covering the infamous Hathras rape and murder case in Uttar Pradesh, noted that the court had been discouraging people from approaching it under Article 32. Mr. Kappan's petition remained pending with repeated adjournments. In the farmers' protest case, the CJI appointed a committee of people who politically neutrality was suspect to examine the issues and commence negotiations with the farmers. These committee members had publicly supported the farm laws in the past.